So that leads us to our next segment, our reaction video, which neither one of us has seen. So it's going to be a true reaction, and I like this part of the show. So let's dive into that.
I think a financial abortion should be legal.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Like, I think that if women have the right to get an abortion, men should be able to get a financial abortion so they can sign off all rights and not pay any child support.
Whoa.
Whoa. That is whoa.
Whoa. I wasn't ready for that because I have my opinions. I have strong opinions about.
I'll go first then.
Yeah, go ahead.
I would say I would agree within the context of her body, her choice.
Right.
If it's his body, if it's her body, his choice, then no. There is no financial abortion. But if it's her body, her choice, then yes, there is financial abortion. I would agree with that 100%. Period, point blank, no ifs, ands, buts about it. Because we have to stand for something, and that's the part that and from my point of view, where I believe we're missing as a society, specifically when it comes to this discussion, is, what are we going to stand for in relation to male, female, sexual, reproductive activities? Because if it is her body, her choice, then that comes with there is some mental low responsibility that comes with that.
Yeah.
Just like on his part, there is some mental low responsibility that comes with that. And if we're saying that there is some level of responsibility that comes with being an adult who does engage in these activities, which is, again, why we typically tell kids don't have sex, because it is an adult activity and it might come with some consequences you might not be prepared for. If that is the standard that we've set, then yes, if a woman ends up pregnant and the man decides he doesn't want to have it, then yes, he needs to have a financial abortion or an abort button, just no different than her, because she can get an abortion, she can have the baby and drop it off to one of them little little spots where the police or the firemen come pick it up.
The firehouse, yeah.
Or she could just leave the baby on the doorsteps of the firehouse and walk away. Yeah. And there's no obligation. She can give it up for an adoption. There's no obligation.
Her mother could raise the baby.
But if the man doesn't want it, then no, we'll put him in jail. We'll take his driver's license. We'll put him in jail, and we'll still fine him to hell. Fine him to death.
We'll garnish his wages and everything. Well, my opinion on that is I don't think there would be a need for a financial abortion if the abortion was something that was something that entail both parents being consenting on. That's what I believe. I believe if a woman wants an abortion, it should not be able to be done or performed without the consent of the father of said child. Now, and I think that's where it should be at. I done had 4 abortions, 2 miscarriages, and a Maury Povich. You know what that means? The baby wasn't mine. And out of all the abortions, I had no say so. I had absolutely no say so. The one girl, she went and got an abortion. And because she was, I don't want to be telling my business. But just to keep it 100, she was living with her boyfriend and we were messing around. So she went and got an abortion because she was living with him. And then another young lady got an abortion and she just had a baby. And she didn't want another baby, and she was the last one. And the reason why she she didn't even tell me. Like, we broke up over something stupid, and then I seen her like a year or two later. I was producing this fashion show, and she was in the audience. And then I went to the bathroom, and she cut me off at the bathroom. And she was like, "Hey, how you doing? You looking good as usual." Whatever the case would be. She was like, something I wanted to tell you. Like, when we broke up, I was pregnant and I went and got an abortion, and I didn't know how to tell you because I knew how you felt about it because of the prior. She was number 4, so she knew about the other 3 and how I felt about it. And then I was
so this was while you was on the job? Like going to the bathroom?
Yeah, I was working, so I was.
What a hell of a time to drop that bomb on you, right?
She could have went to the grave with that shit. I didn't need to know that. You know, especially after being 3 abortions in, and then now you're gonna tell me this how the 4th one was. Then I had another abortion where the young lady just had, she just had a baby. Like her daughter wasn't even 1 yet, and she was like, "There's no way in the world I'm like having another baby right now." And then the other one was she was still in high school, and she wanted to finish high school before she got pregnant, and that was the decision that she made, or whatever the case may be. But in all those instances, I had no say so. And so they were able to go ahead and do what they wanted to do because it was like my body, my choice.
Right.
So my sentiment where I come in, because I wanted each and every last one of those children. I always wanted children, and I feel as though if there was a space where you could have got the male's consent, and if she wants it, and if the male wants it and she doesn't, she could hand the baby over to the man and his family to raise, which my family would have been totally up for. You know what I'm saying? And so I, the whole financial abortion, like, I mean, I don't know. I guess there is a place for that, because if it gets to the point where the woman is like, I want the baby, and I'm going to have the baby no matter what you say or whatever you do, and then you still have the option to say if you want it or not. And if you don't want it, that should relinquish you of any responsibilities from it. But I don't think that's ideal, because if the baby's going to be here, you at some point you got to get over your feelings and get over your wants and grow up, because it's here. You did the do. You understand what I'm saying? So now the baby is here, and even though she makes the decision, if she carries it or whatever the case may be, if by chance she does decide to keep it, just taking your hands away from it, I that's not it. I don't think that's cool, because we're creating these statistics. We're feeding into these negative statistics, like children growing up without fathers and stuff like that, no male influence and stuff like that, not seeing a positive role of their father, which mess up the psyche of the child. And so now we're raising people that not functioning right in society. So I mean, it's a slippery slope. So that's why I take it back to, if abortion needs to be had, it needs to be dual consent from the male and the female. I mean,
I think it's interesting what you just said, because you gave precedence in a sense to, again, the psychological well-being of the child for the dad not wanting to be around. However, it's like, do we ever take into consideration the psychological ramifications when it's the flip of that? When the man, in your case, when the man wanted the kid, she didn't want the kid. Like, what type of psychological ramifications is that having on him and his perception of life and women and just society moving forward, children
of the child,
or just his psychological? Because again, we say that if the woman doesn't want the kid but the man does, the devil's advocate to that is, well, it's her body, her choice, and if she doesn't want to go through carry the child to term, then she can have an abortion and not have to do that, because you don't get to control her body. But then when it's flipped and she wants it and he doesn't, then we're saying, well, you still have to step up and take care of that kid. Pretty much what you were saying. But my question is, okay, well, we say that he still needs to do that in the name of the well-being of the kid, you know what I mean? But it's like, well, where's his
way out?
What is his? Why don't we take the man's well-being in consideration? In the flip side of that, because I would imagine that it does have some sort of psychological ramifications on the man who did want the kid, and who, like you said, to your point,
it did.
You didn't even know it happened, but then you just get this bomb dropped on you. So how did that have an impact on your psychology, on your psyche for the rest of that night, and then for the rest of the day, and now for the rest of your life?
Yeah, for the rest of your life, I'm still affected. So it's like each and every last one.
The man gets psychologically scarred for when he wants to have a kid, but she doesn't, and she can just go do whatever she wants to do and forfeit motherhood. But And she's not shamed for it, you know. It's just, but we do shame the man for wanting to forfeit fatherhood in the name. But it seems like we only shame the man for it in the name of just because, well, the kid is here. So like you just said, you just got to get over it and be the bigger person and take care of your kid. But it's like, well, no, I didn't want to have the kid. Mm-hmm. So how is it that she can forfeit motherhood if she doesn't want the kid without my say? But I can't forfeit fatherhood if I don't want the kid. Like,
right, and that's a very great point, and it's very valid. And the other point you made, like, do we ever take in the psychological ramifications of the woman going through with the abortion and not having the man have no say so, nothing with it? Like, how does that affect him? Because usually when a couple is pregnant, they usually say we're pregnant, we are, and sometimes the man go through some of the symptoms that the woman does, or sometimes the man,
I've read that, right.
Sometimes the man have some of the eating cravings and some of the anxiety or whatever the case, that things that come along.
It's a shared experience.
Because it's a shared experience, because y'all are creating a life together, which she is cradling in her womb. And I'll be the one to say it. I'm an advocate for it. That's why I was always an advocate against abortions, because there are psychological ramifications to think that, you think you're not good enough. Why nobody wants my child? Why I can't bring my seed into this world? Like, why am I always faced with these scenarios? Like, is there something wrong with me? There's a lot of psychological ramifications that just haunt you, and there's no space for us as men to talk about it. There's no one to talk about it. We just got to suck it up and just move on and just deal with it. But it's something that, that doesn't go away. Just like when a woman has a miscarriage, there's a lot of sentiment that goes with a woman that has a miscarriage, and they always think about that miscarriage or, whatever happened where, the term.
I think that's a good point right there. Right? Yeah. I never thought about that.
And they fail to have any regard to the male that, is the father of that said miscarriage. You know what I'm saying? In every regard, like, I feel like, because I've been through the miscarriage thing as well.
So let me ask you this. What's the mental load that the potential father is going through when it came to him thinking about the responsibility he was going to have with this child and just taking care of this child and this woman, and then that's not happening no more due to either the abortion or the miscarriage? So it's
due to the abortion, due to the miscarriage, or due having a blood test and the baby ain't yours.
That part, even the Maury Povich, right?
So it's like that was the most devastating, because I didn't realize until I wasn't told until the child was 1 year old.
So for a whole year.
For the whole year, or my mom was loving the baby. My aunts and everything, they was buying the baby stuff, and I was going picking up the baby over there, and I found out on her first birthday. Oh, wow! I had a birthday party, and oh shit! I hate telling all my business. I was just, so people ask like why I don't have children and things like that. It's like my mind is like totally traumatized.
So do you think that there's still some mental load, responsibilities in regards to that kind of stuff some stress that we've talked about on previous episodes? You're still dealing with the ramifications of those experiences years later.
Very much so.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Men men have a mental load or stress load no different than any other human being on planet Earth. So we think about these things just as much as a woman would think about these things. We care just as much as a woman would care. And it's just based upon the situation.
So one of our producers sent in a question. And the question is, should there be a DNA test after every successful birth to protect the men? And I think it should be. I said you definitely, because there's statistics that say most men that are on the birth certificate, there's a higher percentage that they're not the father.
The numbers that I've heard, I believe in America, it's 40%.
Yeah,
30 to 40% paternity fraud, and in Jamaica, I want to say it's over 50%.
And if you take care of the kid past the first 3 years, even if you find out the child is not yours, you're still on the hook for child support.
So legally, damn, because you assume the duty of the father.
That's some bullshit.
Even I've seen that in a couple of cases.
Yeah, I think there was a case in the news where the man was trying to go to court because he found out that the child wasn't his, And then the courts were still like, well, you're still
legally the father,
legally on the hook for taking care of this child. And I'm like, why would y'all? If anything, that woman should be fined for lying and for getting whatever, if she was getting assistance and she should be on the hook to repay any monies back to the government or whatever.
So I've seen it. I've seen it to where I've seen cases as well where a guy, he had donated some sperm, some sperm. He donated some sperm to a sperm clinic, and it was a lady and another lady who were a lesbian couple. They had a child with his sperm sample. Then the lady ended up breaking up. So the lady who actually had the baby, she didn't went to court to get child support from the man who left the sample. But because it was his genetic material and it technically was his child, because biologically he had to pay child support.
Oh wow! It's like these, like whoever wrote. There's no doubt in my mind that a woman wrote all these these rules.
It's just fascinating, though, right? Like how this law. But again, going back to language, the language of the law made this man, even though I'm pretty sure, or there has to be some sort of documentation that a man is signing when he gives his donation at the sperm bank that removes any sort of legal obligation for the child. But I guess the way the language of the law is written, it's like, nah, like
if she feels as though she want to get some money out of him. Like, we have the statistic right here. It says these are state studies. New Hampshire found that 30% of men paying child support were not the biological father.
Wow. And
California found that 14% of men paying child support were not the biological father. And I just think whether it's 30% or 14%, that's just egregious to me.
That's a third.
It's horrible. That a woman could actually just alter a man's life and his trajectory of life by just saying he's the father because he looks better.
Yeah, right. Not facts.
He's cuter,
facts.
or he's more popular,
facts.
Or he got a nicer physique, and then the person that you snuck off with, and on that on that off day, that late night from the club or whatever, who you really don't know what he looked like because you was wasted,
right? And
it's like, oh, you make a conscious decision because you know who. You should know who. Well, shouldn't they know who? Like, is there really like a confusion where women don't know who got them knocked up?
Yeah, they are confused because
so I guess you would have to be getting sprayed up. I'm trying to find a politically correct one. I don't want to be too vulgar.
We've been in them streets and we both know that they be getting that club sprayed. Like, they be having frequent, they got frequent flyer miles. They got frequent visitors.
So so you're actually saying
there are women who have frequent visitors to their club, like on a daily basis, a weekly basis, and it ain't the same guy.
Yeah,
and they not using they not requiring he wear condoms, and they not using no birth control. So yeah, we see it all the time on the TV shows, the paternity court. Again, you can't have shows about these things if these things aren't happening, even though people don't want to acknowledge that these things are happening.
That's why I think the answer to that question is yes, definitely. There should be a paternity test, 100%. Yes, there should be, and yeah, that would alleviate that 30% and that 14%. Like, and that 14% might seem small, but I think although that 14% that those men that those 14% include, I think is worth it, and it's very unfair to them to have to be relegated to taking care of a child that's not theirs. Because there's a lot of mental load.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
That come with taking care of a child.
Responsibility,
raising
right.
a child, and if you don't have to do it because it's not your responsibility, you shouldn't have to. And a woman should not be able to make you do anything, just so she could have a more comfortable experience or journey being a parent. Like that's not good. No bueno. No bueno. Oh, that was a good reaction video. Like, you picked a good one. I didn't think y'all was going Oh, they fucking with me, y'all. He's trying. I didn't think they was gonna go there with it, but there you have it. That was our reaction video. So let us know what you think. What's your thought about abortions? Like, there's a lot to discuss out here.
Whether the abortion is physical or financial.
Physical or financial. Should it be the man or the woman, or should it be both that come to a decision? And so